makes sense. Had some great performances from the Jason picks. Rek'Sai will be the next ban that will be aimed at Obvious. That takes one of the tier 1 junglers off the table. Nidalee will be the other prime pick in the jungle. Gragas is still open for these guys. Fresh will be the next ban against Nisbet. Nisbet has landed some insane hooks through the course of the round robin so far. And Kalista will be the final ban from Dig.
It will be. We've just been rounded out with a Sivir ban.
Add me.
Add me, indeed. Sivir ban is the last one to come through. So, where does that leave us? Corki is available. Neither ADK. I guess Jesse's kind of a Corki player. A little bit. Is it first pick Gragas here from Team Dignitas? Now that Nidalee's not available, Rek'Sai is not available, it will put Gamers 2 onto a second tier. Ryze is also available. First time, actually, in a very long time, other than that game yesterday that keeps tripping me up, that Ryze is up. There's not many games that he's been available to pick. Whoa!
Hey, there he is.
There he is.
Yeah, so Gragas will be that first jungler picked up by Wonderwear, making sure that Dignitas have that on their side. Instant response of Ryze. It was like, if Gragas is taken away, we're going to take Ryze. And then the Nautilus as well as the Flex. 2 more fast pickups of Morgana and the Victor. Victor will be going on to Senkox, obviously. Again, we're seeing a Victor in the 3rd rotation in Champion Select. So, yeah, again, picking that early on.
Going back to Spring Split's joke. Senkox being a Victor one-trick.
Oh, yeah.
So, we know it's a comfortable champion for it. This matchup, in theory, should be straightforward for him, but he has to contend with what is up. With Cassiopeia that we just saw Koski play, Azir is available, which we know Perks can play. Yeah. Varus is up. That's the matchup we see all the time in the EU LCS, because Azir is typically banned, and Azir is not banned in this game, and he is getting picked.
The Emperor will make his way onto the Rift here, so that will be picked up by Perks. Next pick will be Caitlyn. Again, we're seeing that into the bottom lane for Jesse here. Yeah, as you mentioned, Senkox, he was known as a bit of an ongoing joke, was that he was a one-trick on Victor. Then Victor was disabled, and then he had to go elsewhere, and then showed he was great on every champion, so yeah.
So, what is the AD carry of choice here? Kalista Sivir banned away. Corki not the best pick into Caitlyn because of the range disadvantage. Then again, most champions you pick here are going to be at a range disadvantage.
Unless you go Annie AD carry, and that's still got nerfed.
Okay, so. let's be real. This is a game for first place, Pulse. this is the
but
game.
You're saying what can be picked into Caitlyn that matches range? Cog will be the other one, but only for a certain amount of seconds.
Cubby is a Jinx player. That would make sense. Swap over to the Rockets as well. Gives you that bit extra
Cubby
range
is
for
also a Cog player, but yeah.
And a top laner here. Who do you pick top into Ryze? Karma.
Or Morg.
Okay. No, I mean, we've seen Morgana top lane.
Yes.
Karma.
I've not seen Karma in top lane for a long time, and also the base damage has got changed. She got turned into more of a support.
True.
Does she work in that scenario anymore?
Damage got
I don't think so.
On her Q.
I think it's going to be Morgana.
That's a Rengar. That's a Rengar as well.
That's also Kikis on a Rengar.
I am trying to think. Have we seen Kikis on Rengar? I feel like maybe one game, like in Spring Split or early Summer Split. But Rengar typically has not found success in a while outside of Korea. Still doesn't find much success in Korea even these days. Yeah. So it's such like a difficult jungler to get rolling because you're relying on landing the bolus, landing just the crowd control. However, one thing that they will have fairly strong is between Ryze and Rengar. That's a lot of single target crowd control that's coming out. So who knows? Man, I've not seen Kikis on Rengar. He wanted to try different things. He wanted to have his own way in the team. That's why he left Unicorns. He's just Rengar.
Yeah, it was funny. We were talking in the break as well. Will Kikis bring over some of the things that he's acquired from Unicorns, which is these funky picks, throws people off guard, but is played exceptionally well. So he knows exactly how the pick can work and how it fits into a composition. Will the Rengar be the same?
Lee Sin was up and he didn't opt for it into the Gragas, which was the matchup he had yesterday.
Yeah.
And did very well with. So that's an interesting one that he didn't choose to go for that one. But I think the most interesting thing is Karma. A lot of her damage got gutted a couple of patches back when they took the damage off her Q. So I'm interested to see how that goes. But one thing is for certain, this team composition is going to be able to utilize the movement speed that's going to come from Karma when she mantras her E, get yourself moving pretty quickly in this setup. With the Jinx, be able to push down towers. Poke going to come from Karma as well. The other side of the Rift, as we said, single target crowd control coming out from Rengar, Ryze. Then you've got Azir and Caitlyn for tower pushing. Going to be difficult to deal with. If one member of Team Dignitas dies, towers are going to fall very quickly after.
They are indeed. Well, that's a lot of interesting things in this game, and I think that's going to change your votes, and I'm about to ask for them. Tweet at LOL Esports, get on Twitter, use those hashtags DEU win or G2 win, or even just use the hashtag EUCS and talk about this game, because there is a lot going on, and this means a lot for both these teams and also the teams below them. So there's a lot on the line for these teams.
So the winner of this game will be playing against Mouse in the playoffs. The loser will have to face Wicked and the rest of the Denial lineup.
Okay, on to the Rift. Gamers 2 on the red side. Team Dignitas EU on the blue. Heading out of base. Will they go for an aggressive early game play? We'll see as they fan out. Wonderware on this Karma. Now, as you mentioned a couple patches ago, Karma's damage did get reduced because Q would hit you and you would lose most of your health.
Yeah, it was really annoying.
Yeah, not great. We used to see it a bit in the mid lane. We saw it before that a bit in the jungle. Then we saw it in support. Kind of being all over the place. In the top lane ages ago, before her rework, we saw her in the top lane. But we haven't seen her there since. And it was great into melee matchups because of the tether, because she could lock people down. But how will it do against the Ryze?
Honestly, I mean, Karma doesn't have anything like a silence, so it's not like you can really lock down Ryze with regards to his ability rotation later into the game. One thing that maybe I can see from it is because Ryze wants to stick on you, you would be able to put down Focused Resolve. And once you've got a couple of points in that, the duration may just about be long enough to outlast the Ryze and run away. I don't know. I haven't seen this matchup particularly, but that's my estimation is you just pop the Focused Resolve, Q backwards, and Mantra E yourself out of there. And if he wants to chase you, he's getting stunned.
At max rank, Focused Resolve will outroot Ryze.
Right.
Because Ryze was nerfed. It's no longer 2 seconds. It's like 1.7.
Yeah.
So that would work.
That's what I think is probably the reasoning for this one. I know that Team Dignitas has been working on a lot of picks with regards to how to play against certain meta champions. I know that one of the things we actually saw at DreamHack Valencia was Senpai actually played 2 games of Azir into Sivir. Not Azir, sorry. Anivia. That's a very different champion. He played 2 games of Anivia in the finals against Kick. So I know they're working on a lot of these strats right now and have been actually fairly vocal on it. So this might be one that Wonderware has been kind of sitting on. Because obviously to not ban Ryze and not first pick it is a fairly big statement that Team Dignitas are making for themselves.
I very much want to know what Wonderware Max is in this game. Because Focus Resolve is W, which is the snare. And hold that thought for a second. Hybrid does get locked down in the bottom lane. Kobe will put down some damage, but so will Jesse. Ooh, Piltover goes wide. But it does outrange basically everything that Ryze has on an on-click by 75 units, which is 3/4 of a teamer, if you can think about that. So she does outrange him with the lock. And has the longer tether. So it seems like a good matchup on paper.
On paper, and as you said, I'm wondering where he does end up maxing. Remember that Ryze now has to max Q to get the duration of Arcane Mastery up. So it's not like you have to max the W to begin with Wonderware. I'm assuming you just kind of go equal, maxing Q and W in the same pace that Ryze will. That's my estimation for what Wonderware is likely to do, but again, we'll track it. He has put a second point into his Q, no points yet in his shield.
Yeah. See if we can connect those soul flares as well. That is, of course, the mantra'd version of Inner Flare. The hook comes across, very close to Kabi. Does not juke that Piltover this time. Bot lane, we spent a lot of time top lane. Remember, mid lane and bot lane also a thing. Senkux is on his Victor once again, up against the Azir here. Perks has had a lot of play on Azir. Senkux has had a lot of play on Victor and Azir. Kikis has taken away this crab. Going for this conservative early start, getting that vision down. He'll be going for the recall. There's another hook, not quite connecting from Hybrid. Obvious, heading into this middle lane. He has double buffs. He's looking for perks. Death Laser, Death Ray lands onto perks. Not quite in range for the body slam or the body slam flash. So Obvious will be moving away from here. This is a lot less is happening in this early game than we saw yesterday. That was very nice by Nisbet, actually, throwing the Dark Binding towards Jesse while he was looking for Hybrid. Yeah,
just making sure that if Jesse had stepped forward, he'd been able to catch him. Interesting Kikis yesterday went for the Brutalizer, opted for the double longswords, and forces Obvious to body slam over the wall. Hasn't opted for his jungle upgrade. This is something, as we said, he did yesterday after getting the first blood. Couldn't afford the Brutalizer straight up this time.
Kikis, I only play champions that can go Brutalizer first.
Well, I mean, that's not going to work out too well in the meta overall, since Runeglaive Nidalee is one of the queens of the jungle, and then it's Cinderhulk from there. But we'll see if we can get the Rengar to actually work for him, because that's one of the biggest problems Rengar has, is you start building damage and then you have to build tank, unless you want to be squishy and try and just one-shot people for the entire game. Doesn't really have enough tankiness on the rest of his team to actually be able to do that, though.
Funny enough, in the article of Vines and Felines, over in North America, when the Rengar was played, they were saying essentially you either go all in on one or the other. You go all in on damage, you go all in on tank, because otherwise you do neither.
Perks is going all in, though.
He is, and Obvious will be going all out, but he gets bouldered down and locked in place. Senkook's returning the damage. Doesn't have a whole lot in this game as Victor. Jesse going forwards through the Flame Chompers, will be netting back through the minion line as well. A lot of damage onto Kobe. And Nisbet will be trying to get those autos down as well to return fire. Just lots of trades in the bottom lane, but not a whole lot has been burnt.
A lot of damage all across the board around the map in this one so far, but no kills. Kikis is looking for one on Obvious. Oh, did not find him.
The last 0.1 of the recall.
I was going to say, it's the last 0.1 of the recall. It got normalized from between half a second and a quarter of a second to being the very, very, very last 0.1. So Kikis getting a little unlucky that that wasn't a split second earlier. I don't think he'll be able to set up a gank in this bottom lane unless they really land some hard crowd control, but Nisbet will have the black shield as well, so not like any of the crowd control is really going to stick without Team Dignitas messing that one up.
At least now you know exactly how much you missed by, which is nice. But Obvious in the top lane, he's looking for his gank to come in, as Wonderwear has pushed up the wave. Level 6, of course. We'll be putting that second point in Mantra, has been maxing the Soul Flare.
So, does Smitty J now read that there's a gank coming, though? Kikis certainly does, by the way he's positioned. There's a pink ward in the river as well. So, now it's, does he face check the bush? And yes, he does. Smitty J face checks.
Getting the root down. He will be flashing away. Wonderwear, doesn't he have any more damage to offer? Obvious thinks about the tower dive, thinks better of it. There was Kikis just around the corner, just in case he needs to go for it. Bottom lane, Nisbet was trying to freeze, but Hybrid makes sure he doesn't get that down. Obvious will take this opportunity to clear out this pink ward. Kikis, I don't think you can really interrupt him. He's going to get this pink. He's going to come in with the bowler, but Obvious is already over the wall, and there's nothing for Kikis to get. So now they just know his position, and Kikis didn't get anything from that.
Right, but at this point, Kikis hasn't really got all that much when it comes to actually objectives and any kind of kills and assists. We are at a 0-0 game so far. So Kikis' early game impact has been a lot lower than yesterday, and he wants to change that with an attempted blue buff steal. You can actually see Nautilus and Perks coming across here. Wonderwear's come down from the top side, but so has Rise. This could be a 4 versus 3 setup here.
Smart.
Nobody has moved from Dig.
Obvious trying to get away here. Hybrid is there to lock him down, and he will be leaping after him with the Rengar. Wonderwear trying to get back to this turret, but the order is given, and he gets taken out by Perks.
That was a really weird setup from Team Dignitas with regards to nobody moving. Okay, you don't expect Nisbet to go with that, but Senkook's in the middle lane had been shoved in, and he had to clear the wave, or at least in his mind he had to clear it before he moved across. So they knew the numbers were always going to be on Gamers 2's side, and they end up 2-0 from it.
Yeah, Nisbet now roaming down, roaming down into the bottom side of the map. We'll be going through this. Has been tagged out by that ward, so Gamers 2 at least have the knowledge of that as he's roaming. But yeah, that was incredibly well worked out from Gamers 2. Again, the early game advantage, something we haven't historically seen from Gamers 2. Nisbet aggressing in the bottom lane, something we haven't historically seen from Nisbet. Generally getting those advantages just by himself in that bottom lane on those supports. Senkook's in this mid lane does have that slight CS advantage over Perks. In terms of raw mechanics, I definitely would rate Senkuk's a little higher, but Perks has been way more consistent, I feel, over the split for sure. So Kikis, now taking his jungle, has gone for the Worry enchant, so got that Brutalizer, picked that one up. And Hybrid is now pushing in the bottom lane. So a lot of passivity at the moment, with those 2 kills going over to Gamers 2. And obviously just making sure the jungle is good to go. Perks. The
Shurima Drift.
Yeah. The order was given. Would you like fries with that? Oh, Kikis heading into the top lane. Has his ultimate. There's the exclamation mark. He finds Wonderwear. Gets a lockdown as well with the bowler. Gets CC'd for days. You are not going anywhere, Wonderwear. Looking for the extra heal. He will get it from the Mantra. But Smitty J gets the kill regardless with Q. Yeah,
tried to get the focused resolve with that Mantra bonus of the healing, but it just was not enough. Wonderwear right now, he has a Haunting, guys, so he does have that little bit of extra health, but honestly right then, couldn't quite read the Rengar coming to his lane until it was far too late. And this Rengar pick is starting to work out for Kikis. Big engage bottom lane.
Oh, Jesse got caught in the Flame Chompers, but it is quickly turned around onto Nisbet as the ultimate landed from Hybrid.
Perks is coming down though, and Kikis is in tow. This is very problematic for Team Dignitas here. Nisbet caught out.
Looking to pick up the kill here, looking for the Conquering Sands as well. Already used it. The flash into the dredge line, onto Nisbet. In with the soldiers as well, and takes him out. Get poked. And we'll be getting that extra kill. 4-0, Gamers 2 in 10 minutes.
And is this the Gamers 2 that we've been told about for so long? The Gamers 2 that want to compete at the top end of the Challenger Series. Remember, this previous to this week, Senkuk's, what are you doing?
Well, he's going to try and blow up Perks, and he actually has a lot of damage, gets the stun down with the gravity field, but that's a Rise coming in from the top side. Senkuk's, he'll get the slight shield from the power transfer, but Wonderwear's on the fight as well. He gets him with the Inner Flame, and will be trying to get out of this fight. Hits with the bowler from Kikis as he's just in the bush. There's always a Rengar in the bush. He gets the minion, trying to kill that minion, trying to kill Wonderwear. Doesn't quite get him. Trying to get away here with the renewal.
This should be Tower and Dragon coming from this for Gamers 2. Gamers 2 have a massive lead already. We're 11 minutes in, 18,600 gold to 14,600. Gamers 2 are destroying Dignitas very early on.
We have seen this before from Dig, where they fall behind early and they do catch up in the macro game later, but if they fall so far behind where Gamers 2 take everything away from them, it's not really going to matter. Gamers 2 now take this first dragon of the game. That'll be back up in 6 minutes. And with that large CS advantage, large gold advantage, large kill, tower, and dragon advantage, Gamers 2 are ticking all of the boxes.
And the problem for Team Dignitas right now is this composition for them relies so much on Kobbe being the main focus for this team. That's what the disengage is for. That's also what the Karma is going to bring with this, the shielding, the added mobility. But Team Dignitas need so much more time to bring Kobbe into this game. Look at how far behind he is just in CS alone. 110 CS to 80, 12 minutes into the game, and this was a matchup that that Team Dignitas picked themselves. The Caitlyn was even the first pick in this matchup. Pick number 4 for Gamers 2.
Choose one of the bushes, you lose every time. Wonderwear's there, he gets him, and he is locked down. He's going to have to stand there and try and get the damage onto Obvious. That was almost very close with the crit and the headshot. And meanwhile, Hybrid was there as well. Hybrid actually finds Nisbet. Nisbet actually has found Hybrid. Mid lane, though, we did see a kill into Senkuk's while that was all happening. Senkuk's was a straight call out. I think we're going to see that right now.
Yeah, he's 0-2-1, though, at the same time. It's, again, Kikis just getting in there.
Yeah.
A little bit of a overkill with the Conquering Sands, but, you know, it gets the job done.
Shurima is eternal. Shurima is a turtle.
Mid turret's going down. I think that is the key thing at hand right now, as Perks is looking to push it down. A couple more hits on it, and that will be it. But, I mean, where did Team Dignitas go from here in this setup? Senkuk's doesn't even have a completed item. He's just got the upgrade on their Hex Core. The first upgrade as well. That's a Hex Core Mark 1. Now they've got to contend with the Sun Disc for about a minute or so, just sitting here in this middle lane, shoving them in constantly. Top tower should be the next focus. You can see Jesse is already up there. That's a fairly straightforward objective to take, and with no dragon on the map, I actually think inner turrets are really going to be difficult for Team Dignitas to hold. We talked about how between the Azir, between the Caitlyn, one person dies and the turret goes down. That is going to continue to happen now in favor of Gamers 2.
Clearing off this top wave as well. Kikis, while that was happening, took away another blue buff away from Obvious. That was the second of the game he'd taken away. Jesse farming up this top wave has now swapped up there with Hybrid. There's 2v2 with Nisbet coming in. Cobby is staying in the bot lane, probably most likely freezing from the looks of it. Trying to get as much farm as possible, catch up to Jesse, and just try and stall this out into later into the game. Because in terms of scaling, they're in pretty good shape. They have the Victor, great. Right. Jinx, Karma, not entirely sure how she fits in this role. I would assume okay. Her scaling is a lot from her different skills.
Second point is in W4, but here comes Ryze into the middle lane.
Oh, Senkux, he has to burn the flash, and no matter how this turns out, he drops low. He has to Death Ray lands onto Perks, but oh, Rocket from the bottom lane barely scratches him in the middle lane. Or goes right past Azir, rather. Does Azir have ears? I'm not entirely sure. Jesse almost getting CC'd up there by the Karma. And now here comes Kikis again. Can he get some more value out of his ultimate? He's running after Wonderwear. He does get the ultimate down, comes in with the dredge line. Nisbet is there to block it though with the black shield. And every single one of the ultimates from Kikis is counted. He's made something happen every single time. Nisbet flash forwards into the Soul Shackles, is locking them down. Wonderwear and the rest of the team is in tow. Gets the CC onto Hybrid as well. That was perfect CC layering from Dig.
Yeah, very well done. Overzealous from Hybrid as well. G2 still will look to push this turret down, but quite honestly, Smitty J on the bottom side of the map is looking to push things in as well. I don't know who can actually deal with him right now, apart from maybe Cobby from a distance, as Wonderwear will be going down there himself. But G2 are relentless for this top side tower. Ace in the hole comes out. It's going to be enough to force them back. Teleport's actually coming in from Smitty J. He's looking for the engage right onto the Flame Chompers.
Oh, Perks from the mid lane, though, maybe caught out by Obvious. He'll blast him away with the soldiers there, but Obvious has also been locked down. Senkux now coming in from the middle lane, looking for the power transfer, lands onto Perks. Not quite enough. Smitty J trying to get away, but not before he's caught in the gravity field. Now Cobby is trying to chase after. He gets the first kill and the passive, getting excited. Now chasing onto Jesse as well. This Storm is following him down. There comes the ultimate. Who's it going for? Off the map. But it may be hitting some random Yordle off in Rune Terror. Comes in for the power transfer. Senkux gets him with the auto. That's a dead Ryze.
It is a dead Ryze. And this, I think, stems back to G2 with their consistency point when it comes to bringing the jungler in. I actually managed to speak with Kikis yesterday after their game and talk about how the team is kind of feeling and sitting, and we were talking about shot calling and who it is that's doing the shot calling, because that was the big problem with the Unicorns of Love. The plays that G2 have made, like that where they're overzealous, have not been involving Kikis. Kikis was not really around for the beginning of that fight. It was the teleport coming from Smitty J. So I wonder how much control Kikis is having over the shot calling in all situations, or whether that's decisions being made by other players. It's a very interesting one that unfortunately we won't find out the answer to, but certainly seems to be a little bit of a trend thus far in this game. However, Gamers 2 still have had pretty good shot calling throughout the entire thing.
Only the positives were my shot.
Well, no, I'm not. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm not going to attribute the positives to Kikis and the negatives to everybody else. It's more of a question of, is that like a factor at all? But speaking of positives, in comes Senkux and lands a lot of damage. He really has started to open up from this fight. Did manage to get himself a couple of kills here, as you can see Jesse, too low mana, too low health to get himself away. And yes, the Jinx ult doesn't quite hit on Perks, but Senkux knew his target and knew he could chase him down. There we go.
Get booped.
Pops him.
Pops him. Fast on the draw. Senkux angered the beast. He's trying to come back into this game now. 2-2-2. That's a good start. Obvious gets Perks with the ultimate. Again, the Emperor's Divide comes out, and he actually jumps into Obvious as well, gets the CC, and the Sun Disc. Oh, another Conquering Sands comes out just as the Anchor Toss comes in from Hybrid, and it is enough to take him out. Never dive a Sun Disc. It does a lot of damage.
It does. I mean, I'm not too sure what Obvious actually was doing in that situation. He had the rest of his team around him, but nobody reacted to it.
No.
It looked like the call was made and just nobody really wanted to go in. And it's going to end up with another dragon going over to Gamers 2. That's the second now of the game. They're up in dragons, they're up in towers. They're just up in basically every metric. A little bit of farm in mid lane is the only real advantage Team Dignitas has. And even with that, look, Perks is 4-1-3. So the actual gold is still in Gamers 2's favor.
Yeah, Senkux is going to be tanking that ace in the hole. This mid tower should be falling. His minions are dying quickly, but yeah, one more auto. There we go. 5 and 9 in terms of kills. Big gold advantage. It's now 18 minutes into this game, getting to that 20-minute mark. And the 3 towers have gone over to Gamers 2. This is definitely a very different Gamers 2 from what we've seen so far. And we asked the question before, like, how is a mid-tier jungler from the LCS going to play up against a upper-tier jungler from the CS? And right now, pretty well.
Yeah, pretty well. And this is the second game in a row. Out of the 2 games we have as a sample size, it's... I don't want to say it's to be expected, because there's a lot of weight that falls on the shoulders of junglers, and certainly Team Dignitas you'd expect would have overall better synergy than G2, but certainly Kikis in these 2 games has been causing a multitude of problems for Obvious. Both games, Kikis has really just stopped Obvious from having any impact on the game at all. I mean, think of yesterday's game. It was still fairly close at this point. Then G2 went and take the Baron. Then they take inhibs, then more turrets and close the game. It was within about 7 minutes of taking the Baron at about that 27, 28, 29 minute mark. We're on track for possibly that again, but maybe even faster from Gamers 2. The fact that they have a bigger lead now than they did in yesterday's games, and a lot of it has been the fact that between Kikis and Perks and SmittyJ just kind of holding his own, they've been able to just completely outplay Team Dignitas when it came to the laning phase and their map movements.
Yeah, Dig do have a decent amount of wave clear here though. With the Jinx, the Victor, even Wonderwear with the Soul Flare, like that's a lot of wave clear. So unless they get picks beforehand, which they have been getting, maybe a little difficult to siege unless they get massively ahead. Alternatively, they can just play around dragons as they have 2 already. And Dig and a head on confrontation, I don't think will come out on top unless they get the outnumber and a good setup to the fight. Perks and Hybrid here, just trying to push in, get some vision. Set up for the control around the dragon in terms of those wards. Bottom lane, whoa, that's a big CS differential.
Yeah.
194 over to 138. We even saw Cobby solo farming in the lane for a long time, and he still hasn't caught up.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse has been split pushing himself, or at least just sitting over in a side lane, pushing down turrets. So while you know, Team Dignitas have built this composition around Cobby, they haven't got the gold onto him. He is 1,600 gold down in his lane matchup, and they need Jinx to be more impactful in this game before Caitlyn. Caitlyn has a later game spike than you expect a Jinx to have, really. But Jinx becoming more potent earlier and staying relevant for the rest of the game should be problematic for Gamers 2. However, the itemization on Jinx right now is behind, and it's not going to be enough. However, Perks has been caught out. There's Senkok's going in.
Yeah, one thing you can rely on is Nisbet landing fantastic Dark Bindings, and the Storm is still chasing Perks down. He flashes after he gets the power transfer, but he should be going down. He actually gets the stun down onto 2 players. One of the Wondaware there to assist him, but the shutdown comes in from Kikis. He gets the damage out himself, jumps onto Wondaware as he's still in range of the bush. Jesse now coming into the fight with the net in aggressively. Ultimate comes through, blocked out by Nisbet. Does Hybrid have the dredge line? He does not. Does not decide to go for it. That's a 1-for-2 trade in favor of Gamers 2.
Team Dignitas do not have the health to take these fights. Obvious was forced onto a very early Sightstone before he even finished Cinderhulk, so he only has that Cinderhulk completed. Nisbet will Black Shield the rest of the hook coming from Hybrid, but Gamers 2 just are so far away ahead when it comes to their damage that Team Dignitas just can't sit in these fights. And it doesn't really help that Senkok's is making plays where he's flashing forward. Yes, he's getting kills, but if he is dead, that is so much of the damage that is not there for Team Dignitas that it's just easy for G2 to clean up these fights.
It's like the anti-Ryu scenario where you eliminate the enemy carry, but they still have more, and the other carries are better than your carries at the moment. And SmittyJ, you can see how much damage he's dealing.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot.
Also in that top lane, again, you can see the CS differential. 60 farm when Wondaware had the advantage in the laning phase. That's a long time since then, and Wondaware has been getting not a lot of the farm. I don't even think it was like farm allocation either, because we've seen a lot of the players in like a 1-3-1 setup. So it's not been like they've been in the group and it's like, okay, this guy gets it, this guy gets it. It's just simply because SmittyJ has been accumulating more farm and zoning Wondaware away.
Yeah, it has been, and Wondaware even got ganked early on as well, didn't survive the ganks coming from Kikis. And that's kind of, in the games where Team Dignitas have fallen behind, it's kind of been one of their biggest problems. Is if Wondaware doesn't survive the ganks, which tends to be the case, it's difficult for him to get back in the game. And a fight like this is not going to help. This is the numbers, while yes, they're in favor of Gamers 2, of Team Dignitas, Gamers 2 were already backing away from this. Yes, they don't have flashes available to really get themselves out fast, but G2 were already just on the way out. There was no real way of Team Dignitas catching them, and now the Gragas ult is down.
Oof, that's a lot of damage from Overload. And this bet's always going to land at Dark Binding. SmearJ will have to stand still for a couple seconds. Here's the third dragon. Dignitas are not going to contest. Probably the smartest decision right now, but 6 minutes of time, they're going to have to start contesting these dragons. Right. They can't just sit there and do nothing.
They can't let the next one go. If you put Gamers 2 while this far ahead onto the tipping point where it's only a further 6 minutes, and that's basically game, they already have enough damage as it is. They don't need extra damage with the aspect of the dragon buff, but they did just pick up extra mobility with that movement speed buff that comes from the third dragon. So now it's even harder for Team Dignitas to disengage. I nearly said Team Disengage then. But that's kind of what they've got. They've got the Gragas, they've got the Karma to run away. But this Karma pick honestly hasn't worked.
No, he's built the Liandry's, he's built the Pen, and if you're building a Liandry's with this type of champion, you're expecting poke. You're expecting just to poke your opponents down, whittle them down with the Liandry's. But we haven't seen that at all. We've never seen Dignitas group and disengage and poke and disengage. Right,
we've never got to that point. And the other factor is, you know, we asked how is Wonderware building. He has put points in Q and then W.
Okay.
So that is in fact how he has built up. Only 1 point in the shield, which means that when it comes to protecting Kobby, it's not all that valuable outside of the mantra movement speed. Oh, Nisbeth. Somebody's in trouble. Oh, Kikis was looking for Senkux. Okay. Used the ultimate but cleared the jungle is one of the important things. Now they can turn away and look to bait again because they know Team Dignitas don't have any wards on the Baron. So now Team Dignitas have to push. They have to try and get in on this. If they face check, that's very dangerous. No blue trinket available.
Too late to the draw, man. This is not good from Dig. You either immediately go or you immediately do not go, and that means Kobby split up from the pack. He went the wrong way. We saw this from Woolite last time as well, last week. You do not split from the pack because Rengar will be there and Rengar will kill you. Looking for the disengage. This is where Dignitas should thrive, where they can try and get away from a fight, but everyone has to be in close quarters so that the Defiance come out in the middle lane. Can they anti-siege hard enough? Not with these Baron minions.
Not at this point. Not with the Baron minions plus the damage. One Caitlyn Q or some Azir auto attacks from the soldiers is going to just destroy anybody on Team Dignitas at that point. I mean, this Karma doesn't have a lot of health. They've got Morgana support, so there's no tank from the support role either. And Obvious is being pushed so far behind this game. He is still only on Cinderhulk and a Sightstone. Does not have anything else completed for tankiness. And that is just the biggest problem that Team Dignitas have right now, is they cannot survive these fights.
Kikis once blurred. He jumps again. He jumps onto Senkux, but now he has to walk through the gravity field. Actually dissipates, comes in with the Dark Binding, but it lands onto Smitty as he jumps in, and that's to knock back in from Obvious. This is an extremely good fight, or rather an extremely good pickoff by Team Dignitas EU. There is the Summoner's Drift coming in from Perks, getting himself out of that nasty situation. And Wonderwell will clear away this ward. So a nice 2 picks as Gamers 2 get a little over-aggressive.
Yeah, over-aggressive once again, and I guess that answers our question of, is it Kikis that's potentially responsible for the overzealous plays or not? That one Kikis was involved with, so there's no second guesses on that one. So the answer is no, that is us Gamers 2 as a whole with a little bit of overconfident plays. I'm glad we can sort that one out.
Case closed.
Yeah. Ooh. Take him away, boys.
Take him to Runeterra jail. Obvious, be heading back here. Also with Senkux. There's a lot of carries off the board for a couple seconds. Kobby sat in the middle lane. Siege is being set up in the top lane by Gamers 2, and there's basically no reaction from Dig. Or there is a reaction from Dig, but it's 5 seconds too slow.
It's too slow at this point. Yeah, there's nothing Team Dignitas can do at this point. The Caitlyn just has too much range. The Azir is able to push down so quickly as well. How, in my mind, Team Dignitas hold on to this? Somehow They have to stop G2 from standing in front of an inhibitor tower. It's going to come from warding and then a pick using the Greg Assault, which was the attempt at what happened there. But Hybrid didn't get blasted over the wall because that wall is too big to do it on. So now you have to wait. Now you have to wait for that cooldown to be back available. Just try and wave clear for now, and then try that play again. You have to hope that Gamers 2 get over-aggressive at just before this dragon. If the dragon comes up and Gamers 2 can bait Team Dignitas towards the dragon, that's the most dangerous situation to be in against this Gamers 2 squad.
This is the opposite of that would take one, but the ultimate comes in. There's the depth charge. He's dead. He doesn't need to aim that one. Obvious over the wall will be getting away. Wonderwear also picked in from the top lane. So was Senkuks actually before that was all happening. He just got caught out in the middle lane. 3 members taken away. Gamers 2 could go for an inhib. They could take a tower. They could just go for dragon. The Rift is their oyster.
Yeah, they got it. Oh!
Sniper.
Got him. Had a silencer on. Didn't even see it.
Yeah. Can you put a silencer on a rocket?
Silencing doesn't really stop you from seeing. Yeah, okay. Well,
nice.
At this point, G2 will go for the inhibitor turret. You can see what what we know about any kind of firearms being from the UK. That doesn't happen. But pushing on to the tower as G2 have themselves the opening. There's the explosive cask used, and G2 will get this one. It's going to cost him some health on Jesse, though.
Jesse may die for this one, or maybe not. He will be getting away here. Had to burn the flash and the heal. Kikis may be the one paying for his sins, though. Wonderwear in from the sidelines. Not entirely sure if that will matter too much. He gets the Defiance down, trying to get in range. Doesn't fire the Q the right way. Smitty J will just turn around. He knows he's probably dead, but can he get something for it? Not quite, but very close.
Very, very close at this point, but Team Dignitas can't capitalize off. There's no Baron, there's nothing else, and is this the European sniper that we're gonna see here?
I think it is. No, it's Kikis.
Okay, it's Kikis.
Can lions be snipers?
Oh, this is how he gets Senkuks. Can lions be snipers?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Can lions be anything other than lions? Pals? I think that's the question. I don't really think they choose a profession.
Maybe,
but,
maybe.
Okay, we're going to see it. We're going to see the ult from Cobby. I mean, it's anticlimactic because we know it hits.
That's true.
Oh, it was on a ward as well.
That's less impressive. It was actually better not knowing.
Yeah, it was so much better not knowing.
Yeah.
Man, I feel cheated now.
Yeah.
We gave away an
for nothing.
Yeah.
For what?
Turned
down for what? Hybrid and Perks will be taking away this dragon. That's the fourth of the game. Not even Khaleesi has that many. And the 5th dragon is on the horizon. And Dig need to do something in the next 6 minutes, otherwise they are done for.
I think the biggest problem is they've needed to do something for the last kind of 16.
31 minutes and 17 seconds.
I know, because I'm not going to go that far because Team Dignitas have been somewhat active when it comes to punishing Gamers 2, but Gamers 2 have always been on the front foot. They've always been the ones looking for picks, even if it's backfired on them. And that's something we haven't really seen too much from Team Dignitas, although it did creep in last week against Ex-Nihilo, where Ex-Nihilo looked for the turrets early. They got the turrets, pushed Team Dignitas fairly close to the limit. So if Team Dignitas can outlast Gamers 2, which isn't going to happen, by the way, by pushing out of lane without proper warding. I mean, he's got wards alongside him, but he's now gone up to the bush, and that's a dead Karma.
And that's a late game Ryze.
That's probably a dead Morgana if Ryze catches up, but he can't right now. So, well, it certainly is if he catches up, but it was more on, does he get the movement speed boost from his ult? The answer was no.
No. A late game Ryze is a natural habitat. In comes the lion. Can he find his prey? Well, Nautilus is there. Tries to get the lockdown. Cobby has been stuck in place, charged up the ultimate, doesn't get it down. This bet in from the mid lane as well, lands a dog binding. It keeps Kikis there for a while. And he will be backing off now. They're moving on to this inhibitor. Obvious is manning up the front lines. Cobby and Wonderwear are down for the count. This should be the inhibitor falling. Smitty J is pushing the bottom lane. Senkuks and Nisbet are reacting to this. Overload comes out, does not connect. Takes away the minion line. Can Gamers 2 get any more from this? Joe's line comes across. They are looking to close in. Can they get onto Senkuks? Senkuks dies. This may be, if not a large amount of damage to the base, maybe even the game.
Yeah, at this point, Baron just respawned. That's going to be where Gamers 2 are going to look to go. That's a fairly easy one. But again, Team Dignitas have been baited out of their base time and time again this game. Will they fall into the same trap? Senkux is trying to de-ward already, trying to get there before Gamers 2 can get themselves in front of the Baron. Our team Dignitas actually going to just look to clear out the vision and rush this? I would hope not. I don't feel like they've got the damage to rush this quickly. It would be a very, very bold move if they start this Baron. They start it, and okay, there's no vision for G2. They instantly have to pull back as soon as they see that ward. The problem is, this is too late. Super minions pushing into the top lane. G2 actually could just cut down mid lane and take that inhib turret. I don't think there's too much that Team Dignitas could have done about that.
No. They play it safe, though.
Right.
That would have been a play that would have yielded a lot of rewards, but also more risk involved.
Yes.
This one, pretty much nothing that Dig can do. Well, they're going to try. Perks does get separated from the pack, but he's just going to turn around. Obvious gets hooked in. Hybrid takes him out. The rest of the team. Kikis chiming in for the kill. Senkux, the damage out from Smitty J, annihilates him. And now the rest of the team is being chased down. The flash, the exhaust comes out onto Perks, keeping him at arm's reach. But here comes the teleport in from Smitty J. He is cutting off the escape route. You have nowhere to go. There is nowhere to run because Smitty J is there to find you. Cobby trying to get back to base here. He pops the heal at full health just for the movement speed to get back to his base. He gets there, but 2 autos from the Sand Soldiers chunked him down to half. There is no way he can defend this, and this is Gamers 2 closing in for the kill.
They're closing in for the kill, and they're closing in on the first place spot in the round robin here. A real end of the season swing in momentum for them.
And that's the second Nexus turret falling. Gamers 2 take down Team Dignitas, a flawless week, and they take the #1 spot in EUCS.
They do a real late in the season surge from Gamers 2. They racked up enough wins across the weeks, only dropping 2 games, as did Team Dignitas, but they won the most important ones. The one against the top of the table. And honestly, Gamers 2 are looking so much better now than I feel like they did in the first couple of weeks of this split. And honestly, as I said in the game, this may be the first Gamers 2 that actually have looked like they can be the team to get that automatic promotion spot.
Yeah, they looked so good. Such a big difference. Well, we do want to talk to one of the players after that incredible win and incredible week. So we do have Perks on the line here. Hey, Perks, how's it going?
Hello. It's going great.
I can imagine. You just locked in the first spot in the Challenger Series going into playoffs. You know, you guys from the whole split have quietly got wins here and there. What are your feelings on how Gamers 2 have performed in the summer split?
Excuse me, can you say again?
How do you feel Gamers 2 have played across the whole summer split?
Oh, well, we haven't been that good in the beginning, but with some roster changes and way more practice, we have become pretty good. I think we can contest for the first place really easily.
Well, you just mentioned roster changes there, Perks, and Kikis has now come into your lineup. You look like an entirely different team coming into this week. What do you attribute that success to?
Excuse me, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, no problem. You look amazing right now. So what do you think were the factors that caused you to look so good in this recent week?
I think it's mostly my team doing really great, and I have a great jungler and support behind me who always help me out if I need something, and we just play really good as a team. There is like no me in the team, so.
For sure, for sure. How has Kikis actually changed the team this week?
Oh, well, he has a really lot of experience, and he's a really skilled player, so he's kind of guiding us to victory, let's say, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely guided to a victory there. Once again, congratulations on the win. You've locked that #1 spot. Thank you very much for the interview, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
There we go. There's Gamers 2 picking up those last 2 wins. Flawless week with Kikis coming in. And you can definitely see that still humble for Gamers 2. You know, they know they had a bit of a rough first couple of weeks, but they've tightened that up.
There's no me in team, but there is if you rearrange some of those.
There is, but then you'd be spelling team wrong. That'd be Tommy.
Oh, that's true. Damn.
But nobody played Tommy Kench today.
No,
so.
He's more like Tom Benched. Anyway, so Kikis in that game, as we were just talking about, was super great. Again, in the first game, did super well, pushed Obvious out of the jungle. Second game here, Rengar as well. You can see how well he did. 9, 4, and 14 overall in those 2 games. Just looked great. Brought a lot to that team.
He did, and a lot of it was a lot of the early game focus that Kikis actually piled on with the Lee Sin, with the Rengar, set the rest of the team up to compete very well. But the one thing we can't really, we can't really skim over. It is not all Kikis. It is strong solo laners, strong laning in general from gamers too, and then you add on to that somebody who is making plays. We said last week, didn't feel like Hybrid and Maxlaw were playmakers. Now they've got one. Now they have Kikis, and they're looking very strong.
Yeah, the #1 spot. I really feel like Gamers 2 just came out of nowhere. They just arrived and it's like, oh, we're #1 now. Here we go. But yeah, that's it. We're done with the round robin. So the teams are locked. So let's see where everyone ended up. In #1, it is Gamers 2. Tied up with Team Dignitas EU, but that doesn't matter. They lost the head-to-head, so they're now in 2nd place. Followed by Denial, who will be playing Team Dignitas. Mouse come in 4th, who will play Gamers 2. And then we have Overclockers UK, who won today. So they are not last, and it will be X and Elo 1 and 9.
Yeah, and as you alluded to, though, the teams are locked into the spots, so let's make it very easy and take a look at the bracket to see exactly what is going to happen. So, Team Dignitas play against Denial. Gamers 2 face Mouse, and remember that won't be taking place next week because EUCS and the LCS is taking a break next week, but we will be back the week after, starting with our playoffs on Tuesday, the 4th of August.
Yeah, that's right. The semi-finals are going to be Team Dignitas EU versus Denial Esports. That'll be August 4th, and Gamers 2 and Mouse will be August the 5th, immediately the day after. So mark your calendars. We'll be kicking off the action at 1800 CET.
Yeah, that'll be the Tuesday.
The Tuesday
yes. Challenger. Make sure you head over to lolesports.com to actually catch the schedule for that and any action you may have missed over the entire split if you are hyped for those playoffs. Come prepared for playoffs, and there's a lot of other action to watch around the world as well. Always on the road to Worlds. Playoffs are heating up.
Yeah, it is going to be Worlds soon. But while we're finished for today, our global coverage doesn't stop here. Tune in again at 12 a.m. CEST or 3 p.m. Pacific time for Primetime League.
After that, Freakin' Irene, as always, will be bringing you their final week of the North American Challenger Series round robin. Let's see who takes the first spot over there. Is it going to be Renegades?
Maybe.
Is it going to be Cloud9 Tempest? There's a lot of questions.
And with that, the European Challenger Series Summer Split round robin is complete. So from myself, Stress, and the Challenger broadcast team, thank you for following the action so far in summer, and we'll be back in under 2 weeks for playoffs. See you then.